Now the deep sea turned south to head for an area where Graham Hawkes had evidence of an aircraft, possibly an Avenger from Flight 19. Normally, the deep sea roams the oceans in search of sunken Spanish galleons. It is operated by the Scientific Search Project. In the process of treasure hunting, they discovered hundreds of modern-day boats and planes on the ocean floor. Now they're using their high-tech equipment and years of experience in an effort to help solve the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. As the Phantom ROV plunged deeper and deeper into the ocean, a stunning discovery was made at 750 feet beneath the surface. It was the unmistakable image of an airplane, an Avenger bomber.
FT-87.
FT-87. What's the water depth?
767. Get camera down a little bit. That's great.
Take a look at the life raft hole.
I think it's right behind the pilots there.
I think it's up there. I think you can see the small names on it.
Yeah, life raft inside. The door's closed, though.
Yeah, you know, on that other Avenger, the restored one, it was on the starboard side. I wonder if there's two.
Well, the main canopy's pulled open, but there's a bulkhead.
Okay, so it looks like the pilot got out. Yeah, I think the aft crew go out through a hole on the starboard side. We haven't seen that yet. Do not stand on walkway while wing is folding. Well, that paint holds up. Take a look in that gunner's turret, Brad.
You should be able to get right inside. There's a big opening.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, there's so much stuff in there you can bang your head on if you get a rough one.
The television cameras sent back stunning pictures of the crashed airplane below. It sits in a treacherous environment where the pressure is so intense it would crush a human's lungs. The once proud Avenger is now draped with iron-eating bacteria and seaborne anemones, small animals that have latched onto the cockpit walls and become permanent residents.
Quite an artificial reef.
Surprising, 750 feet. Why didn't you go over, bring the ROV around to the other side, Brad?
By reversing thrusters and directing the rudder control, the pilot is able to maneuver the ROV for a closer look.
That's the life raft hatch. You know, it looks like it's open.
Oh, good. The side is open.
Can you get in closer? So it means that the pilot got out on the starboard side and deployed that life raft. So the crew did get out, or at least the life raft was deployed. Look at that white coral on the machine gun muzzle. That's a little bit of poetry.
The crew was eager to examine the serial numbers to see if there was any connection to Flight 19.
Okay, you know that bureau numbers, we're going to have to dig those out, Brad. I think it's underneath the star there.
Buried with all this silt. Let's see if we can blow this away.
Yeah, if you put them on light setting, the blowers, we won't damage the paint.
Here we go.
Just dig it out.
Yeah, I'll reverse the blowers and suck the water right out of there. Pull some clean water in. There, you can start to see the fuselage, just a rivet line. And can you check the book there? I think the numbers are supposed to be right in this area, right by that scene. They're definitely not on the whole.
And so the fate of Flight 19 will remain a mystery. Somewhere here in this vast expanse, the secret of what happened to those 5 bombers remains securely locked in the deep, dark waters of the Bermuda Triangle. At least for now. The drug corridor between the Bahamas and Florida is filled with powerful boats crossing at high speeds. But reckless smugglers often become victims of the unforgiving sea. They wind up here, ghost ships on the ocean floor. This area, known as the Bermuda Triangle, involves 500,000 square miles of deceptively inviting ocean water in the midst of one of the world's busiest commercial shipping lanes. It also happens to be one of the pleasure boating capitals of the world. Put it all together, and you have one of the largest concentrations of boats on the globe. So perhaps it's not surprising to learn that the ocean floor of the Triangle is littered with wrecks of practically every size and shape. The deep sea came upon the ghostly remains of a sleek, high-masted racing sailboat. Her name was Yankee Girl. There were no sails on her masts. Amazingly, they were all stowed and her hatches were wide open. Knowledgeable sailors say that this is an indication that something was deliberately amiss and that this boat ended up on the bottom, a victim of mysterious circumstances in the Bermuda Triangle. As the search continued, another mystery ship loomed out of the abyss and into view. She was a sport fisherman, a pleasure boat from Miami. An investigation revealed that it had been owned by a man in Clearwater, Florida, who reported he sold it to someone in Miami in 1982. Her name was the Big Mom. The trail ended there. The windows and hatches had been blown open by the air trapped inside the hull as it descended. The rudder and steering gear were missing, which could have happened when the boat slammed into the ocean floor. The captain's chair was in the engine hatch, which may be a clue that something ominous happened here just before she sank. The ocean has a way of erasing clues that could explain how she ended up here. It is another of the many unexplained disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. One of the greatest mysteries happened in March of 1918, when the USS Cyclops, a 19,000-ton Navy coal supply ship, sailed from Barbados bound for Baltimore. One of the largest ships afloat at the time, she carried a crew of 309 men. Somewhere during its voyage through the Bermuda Triangle, the Cyclops vanished. For years, science has tried to explain the loss of this and other ships, and they've come up with some fascinating theories. One involves what are known as freak waves. These are gigantic ocean waves that seem to come out of nowhere and overtake a ship completely by surprise.
There are so-called freak waves in the area of the Gulf Stream, and the main reasons for these waves are the, first of all, the current and the winds generally in the Gulf Stream when these storms come off the coast from the United States wind up just causing the waves to be much larger than they should be. And another thing, the warm air that's above the Gulf Stream sort of feeds the storms. So you wind up with waves that might be, instead of 10 feet, maybe 15 or 18 feet in a small boat at night, encountering over a period of 15 minutes, waves that change from 10 to 18 feet could really be a disaster, especially if pretty much everybody's below deck sleeping.
Yeah, freak waves do occur in the Bermuda Triangle. In fact, I have a very interesting case that we just got through working on. It's a freak wave that occurred and actually came ashore along the Florida East Coast, and Daytona Beach caught the brunt of it.
Some freak waves have been measured at over 100 feet in height. Another possibility involves methane hydrates. When methane gas escapes from vents in the ocean floor, the frozen gas bubbles rush to the surface.
If a ship was in one of these methane areas where the methane was bubbling at a great rate, what you would get is the density of water would be decreased to 20 to 30%, and a ship going through that area would lose buoyancy and sink rapidly. And actually, we've had offshore oil rigs that have had deposits of gases released. And when these deposits were released, the rigs did sink very quickly because the buoyancy of the water was no longer there to hold them up. If we could propose that there was some bubbling methane coming up from areas in the Bermuda Triangle, this possibly could be related to some of the problems that we see out there, unexplained disappearances.
To support this theory, oceanographic studies have determined that the floor of the Bermuda Triangle is one of the richest hydrocarbon gas deposits in the world.
Okay, I've got a visual on it. Big cigarette there.
A boat similar to this that recently sank off the Florida coast was carried by the powerful underwater currents of the Gulf Stream across the Atlantic Ocean. It was found off the coast of England.
See, though, look, there's a line tied onto the handrail back to that anchor that's on the back seat. Look, there's a spotlight. See that?
Cord hanging down.
Yeah, that's a spotlight hanging. See the white cord?
Down there in the bottom.
This probably happened at night. Looks like this boat's been down long enough to have kind of sunk during the heyday of all the drug running out here over to the Bahamas. They probably had engine trouble and just foundered. These boats have such low water line. If it was rough seas and they lost their engines, they probably knew they were in trouble. Had the anchor ready, the lines were all tied off, and probably just took a few good waves over the back. Nice boat when it's smooth, but when it gets rough out there, these probably not the safest thing to be in.